I think Ghost of Yotei is a very safe bet. That seems like a thing we're probably going to see because it's Sony's presumably next big game. We know about that. It's on the horizon. It's coming up. There's also Death Stranding 2 on the beach. That's their other big first party one. I feel like it's one or both of those. Those are two we probably going to see. There's also Metal Gear Delta / Triangle / Snake Eater remake, whatever you want to call it. This debuted at one of these things ages ago, or it feels like they've just been sitting on a release date and they're just waiting to ship this thing. On a much sort of smaller scale, Midnight Walk, which is that weird kind of claymation looking puzzly game from the I think it's from Annapurna. Seems like one
publishing, yeah.
Yeah. And then finally, this is casting a bit of a wide net. I think we're going to see a Souls-like or a Souls lookalike. So like Where Winds Meet, Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers, Hell Is Us, Phantom Blade Zero, Ballad of Antara, First Berserker Kazan. Some of those are actually Souls-likes. Some of them just kind of look like Souls-likes, but you know what I mean.
Do you like them, Max?
I like them as friends only. Yeah, let's go over these. What Jada, you think we're going to see Ghost of Yotei?
I mean, it's kind of their marquee game for the year as of now. From what's been revealed, like I don't think there's anything else that Sony has on their books that is revealed to the public that is bigger than Yotei at the moment. It's their big thing for 2025. Barring any delays or crazy development changes, this is the one I would expect to be front and center and kind of headlining a state of play. But they could also not show it and save it for its own. Here is 25 minutes of Yotei conversations, everything that's we've been working on, kind of deep dive kind of thing. They could save that for later, but I would expect them to show at least a little bit more than what we've gotten so far with the initial little teaser trailer.
Mm-hmm. Akeem, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's likely that we'll see Ghost of Yotei because I mean the things you mentioned up top. We might see either or of Death Stranding 2, or we could see both. I don't know. I feel like both of those are like very high profile games, and I think it's honestly only going to be one or the other. I don't think they're going to show both, and I'm kind of banking on Ghost of Yotei. I feel like we've seen a lot of Death Stranding 2. Not that I would complain if we got more of it, but I'm thinking Ghost of Yotei is definitely going to show up.
Ronnie, what about you? You think which of these gameplay would be good? Ronnie, what do you think? You think we're going to see Death Stranding or Ghost of Yotei, or both, or neither?
I think we see both. Honestly, Yotei seems like it's too soon, but I think that's just because of the long-term support they had with the multiplayer stuff. It's a little more fresh in my mind because I played that quite a bit. It was actually really good. So I think it might actually be time for them to roll around again. But I mean, AAA releases these days, you can never fully count on them to come out when they say they're going to come out. But probably time to pop, I would think, for them. So I'd be ready to see more Yotei. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I feel like Ghost of Yotei is... I don't know why. I feel like that's closer. I guess because we've seen more of Death Stranding, but Death Stranding, the first one, had such a long lead up to it. Like it had so much, there was sort of so many little, breadcrumbs being dropped. There's almost kind of like a Boy Who Cried Wolf thing with Kojima, where he's just like, check it out. Here's Mads Mikkelsen and he's in the sewer with his muddy buddies. And you're like, I don't know what any of this is. And now we're like, we see them singing. There's like a musical number and a puppet, and everyone's looks like their inkjet printer ran out of, but yeah, like I don't know. Like
you're gonna go with like their overgrown Smurfs or something.
Yeah, like I don't know. Kojima stuff. This is, it's a high profile thing, but it's also considerably weirder. Like it doesn't feel like as much of a flagship entry. Like as much as I love it, it's got bizarre body horror. It's got sort of surrealist, Lynchian Kojima-esque nonsense going on. Whereas
more than any. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. More than anything, I feel like Death Stranding is just weird on the face of it. Like that weirdness and Kojima stuff is always around the periphery, whether it be like even Police Knots or Metal Gear is his most current stuff before that. It's somewhat standard until you dig into it. You're like, oh, this dude's freaking weird.
Yeah.
Like watch the first trailer for Death Stranding and oh, this dude's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. And it's like, I'm guessing it sold well enough to justify a second one, and Sony's clearly throwing some money at it. But like, if they're going to have a big, huge sort of flagship, here's what our year looks like, kind of rollout for during a state of play. I don't think they're going to put this one front and center, but I could be wrong. On the Kojima beat of things, I feel like we're definitely due for a Metal Gear Delta Triangle 3 make, whatever it's called, Snake Threader. I want this,
and also Max. I want you to think about this. What would be the likelihood of them showing Death Stranding 2 and Metal Gear Delta, like his X?
It feels weird,
like I don't see that happening. So if they are going to show us more Metal Gear, I don't think Kojima. I don't know.
I mean, come on,
be a part of it.
Come on, we've all watched sitcoms where the two exes of the same person show up at the same date or the same bar or whatever. It happens. It imitates real life, right? So,
are you saying that Kojima has a Reba and Barbara Jean problem?
Yes, exactly. I don't understand any of those names, but yes,
I've always said that.
We've seen so much of this to the point that it feels like, and again, we had like a collector's edition leak back last year, and it had like a tentative November release date, and I don't know. I feel like they looked at it and maybe it wasn't quite as polished as they needed it to be, and somebody in Konami is like, we really need to not drop the ball with this because people are ready to be mad at us. So let's keep it in the oven a little bit longer and make sure it's in good fighting shape. People have gone hands-on with this. Like, I think Matt Purslow or somebody played it at Gamescom last year, and they were like, yeah, it's Metal Gear Delta. Like, it's Metal Gear Solid 3 again. So, like, when they first reveal it, I was like, there's no way we're seeing this for a very long time. And now I'm like, okay, hurry up. Let's see this thing. Is it out yet? Can it come out? So, I don't know. I hope we get a release date for that.
Wasn't it on? I could have swore, I could be wrong, but I remember PlayStation had that page of like all the things coming in 2024, and I like and had all their big games, and I'm pretty sure Metal Gear was on that
exactly
list.
Yeah,
things. Yes, right. So it would make sense that if it didn't make it out last year, that it's due for this year.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, we don't see a high-profile game like that delayed beyond a year unless there is some serious development issues going on at the studio. I think it's this year for sure.
It's a legacy IP, and it's one that people really associate with PlayStation. So I could see Sony really wanting to hammer on that, so you can have ads that have Big Boss and Cloud Strife next to each other. Like it's sort of they're recognizable. Whereas like Troy Baker dressed up like Samus to do a guitar fight in Death Stranding 2 is like maybe not. That's not what they're going to throw in a Super Bowl ad. Probably. I don't know. Onto a considerably different pay grade, Midnight Walk. I feel like we should have done just some interesting indie game, some AAA indie. So like Midnight Walk, Little Devil Inside, which again, I feel like I tricked myself into thinking that already came out.
Found makeup on for that one. Little Devil Inside, it's just never coming out, unfortunately. I want it to come out, but just at this point, it was an announcement trailer pre-PS5 or like PS5 launch.
I think that was the first like PS5 showcase where they finally showed games, was Little Devil Inside.
Yeah, and I know they've done like a major overhaul on some of the gameplay stuff with it, if I remember right, reading updates. But I don't know. I'm still very excited for it. I want to see more, but right now it's kind of like in that Hollow Knight Silk Song. It'll get here when it gets here. I don't care. I'll play it whenever.
You think Midnight Walk is a safer bet?
I think so. It was in their one of their state of plays or showcases last year, and they said 2025 for that one. So, yeah.
And if there's anything to keep those people that still use their PSVR 2 hype, I think that would be the title that they show. If they're gonna show at least 2 or at least 1, because they always skimp on the PSVR 2 properties that they or games that they show during these whole state of plays. So I'm hoping it's that one. That one looks really, really cool.
Yeah, this one's smart because it's not like it's got PSVR 2 support, but it's also
on PS5.
It's also just like a 2D. Yeah, like it's which is neat. Now again, all of these are possibilities. None of these are definite things, but those ones seem like pretty safe bets. Let's get into the sort of the gray area. Let's get into the stuff that we're like, oh, maybe not. Let's find out. Housemarque, one of Sony's first party studios. The last thing we saw from them was Returnal. It's been a minute since then. I feel like they're working on something. That's a studio that's been putting stuff out very, very consistently for a very long time. I think that's a very possible thing, but again, takes a long time to make video games. And Returnal, if you looked at it, was a considerable step up from everything they'd done prior to that. So maybe they're making games that take longer to develop.
And they said that they're doing something that's not Returnal 2 and something they haven't done before, which means time for R&D, time for just getting in those reps of building something new, something different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, we haven't heard that they canceled a project there, which is always nice. So that's, presumably still happening. Another thing that's presumably still happening is Fair Games, which is from Jade Raymond's studio. This is the one that's like a co-op, extraction shooter where it's very colorful. It reminds me a lot of that Hyenas game, which came and went. We've seen a CG trailer for this. It's hard. I feel like it's kind of hard to keep track of all of the various live service games. This one seems to be still happening. Maybe.
You don't sound too excited, Max.
I mean, it's funny that their slogan is like cheat the rich, and it's like, yeah, go rip off some billionaires, get back at them for canceling games and shutting studios and laying people off. Then there's Marathon, which is Bungie's beloved legacy IP, which is being resurrected as a multiplayer thing. We've seen CG trailers for both of these, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the strategy is around live service stuff post Concord. I don't know how Sony's approaching these things differently. I don't know if they're like, this needs more time, this needs less time, this needs more optics, this needs, a better rollout, we need to not have two things stepping on each other's toes. But one of those or both of those seem very possible. Third party stuff, obviously there's going to be something third party because Sony only has so many first party studios. Jada, you suggested Sonic Racing Cross Worlds.
Yeah, I mean, we got that little 15-second spot at Game Awards, and I think, we just had the Switch 2 announcement with Mario Kart 9 getting announced. It would make sense for them to want to jump the gun and get there faster than Mario. So I could see this one showing up and maybe being a spring to summer, early fall launch, depending on how far they are in development for it. I'm hyped for it. I really like the Sonic racing games, even though, it's always, the joke is it's always silly is why does Sonic need car? But, they're great.
He's tired.
He is tired. He doesn't want to walk everywhere. But yeah, it's I really enjoy the Sonic racing games. I think they're solid developed titles. So I'm hoping this one comes out sooner rather than later.
Some third party thing will definitely show up. Borderlands 4 is another big one. We got that big trailer at the Game Awards, which I don't think blew anyone away. I think the Borderlands
it was one of the more popular trailers view wise. That and Mafia, which I'm sure we'll touch on. But
the only problem is if anyone were to tell me that was Borderlands 3 footage, I'd be like, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, part of that is watching it off a stream, but I don't see anything here to excite me yet. I do know there's a huge shakeup in the writer's room, which may change a lot about how the tone is conveyed, because I feel like 3 was kind of real bad in that regard. But I don't know. I loved Borderlands 2 back when it first came out and put hundreds of hours in that and played maybe 10 hours of Borderlands 3 and was like, I can't do this right now, and just never went back to it. So I don't know. Hopefully we see it, and hopefully it does something enough to catch some attention. But I don't know.
Yeah, Mafia is a big one. That's supposedly coming this year. That's funny because that's under Take Two. That's 2K, which is below the parent company of GTA, and it's kind of like you got two big old crime games coming out. I'm not sure if this one is open world. I feel like they said it's less.
It's like there's small paths you can go off on, but it's not open world.
Huh.
I mean, it's kind of been how all the Mafia games aren't they, like quasi open worlds? Like you can drive places and it seems like an open world, but there's not really anything to do apart from the story path, which honestly I have no issue with. Like if you want to give the feeling of you can drive anywhere, but like there's no reason to, I'm kind of okay with that, even though it's kind of a magic trick. I don't know. From what I've played of the Mafia games, I'm excited to see where this new one goes.
It goes to Sicily. That's where it goes.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, also Crimson Desert. That is a big open world. That is the Black Desert Online, but offline, which is cool. That could be a nice thing to see. We could probably classify this under the Souls lookalikes. It's not a Souls-like, but it's,
more action RPG, open world.
Yeah.
Looky.
Yeah.
Solve the mystery of why they changed the color of the desert.
It doesn't look like a desert, and it doesn't look particularly crimson. So I take umbrage with this nomenclature, dear friends.
The last one didn't look black, so
that's fair. Yeah,
Deserts changed over time.
Here's a fun one. This is a separate category, a very possible thing, which is weird to say, but this PlayStation State of Play could very well feature Xbox games. We know that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to PS5 at some point this spring. We also just got word, we're kind of bearing the lead here, that Forza Horizon 5 is going to come to PS5, which is awesome because I love this game so much. And I don't necessarily need to play it again because I think I put like 120 hours in on Xbox. Apologies. I know I host the PlayStation show. I should be playing other games probably.
But
Max. It's a good game. It's really fun. So I'm excited more people get to play it. So, be good. The awkward thing there is like, where do you announce that? Like, do you announce, I mean, I guess if you're kind of preaching to the choir by announcing it on an Xbox Direct, anybody who's watching that, been paying close attention probably has an Xbox and they probably already played Forza Horizon. So if you're trying to reach these people, it stands to reason you'd put it on a Sony presentation.
Yeah, I think you shake up the internet and you just allow Phil Spencer to just come on and just announce it himself.
You show Master Chief and Astrobot kissing.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Their helmets just bump together.
Yeah, just clanging noises. Just sounds like you dropped your phone on a plane, like clonk. Yeah. Now, here's the stuff that we don't think we're going to see. We do not think we're going to see this. We would love to be wrong. We always make these prediction shows. We have fun doing it. But also sometimes we just we throw the pie in the sky and it falls down and lands on our faces. And there's always the things we think we're going to see. And then there's stuff that comes out of left field that we don't predict. Silent Hill F and Townfall. Akeem, you suggested this. Why don't you think we're going to see these?
We barely know anything about Townfall. We know a limited amount about Silent Hill F. Like we're familiar with they announced the writer for it, this manga artist who wrote some very similar like Silent Hill-esque type manga. But we don't know anything about it. I believe Silent Hill F takes place in Japan. We haven't seen much else about it. I don't know. I feel like they're gonna if we're gonna see anything about Silent Hill, it's probably going to be later on in the year during one of their transmissions. If we remember the transmissions, that's what they call them. I don't know why they call them that. That's what they call the presentations.
Because it's it sounds like a spooky radio noise,
Yeah. But yeah, I really want more Silent Hill, and I feel like after last year's remake of Silent Hill 2, that did very well for Konami. So I feel like it might be a little bit too soon for more Silent Hill. At least if this is happening next week. I don't think they're ready just yet.
Yeah, they just put it out. They did announce that Silent Hill 2 remake sold really well, so I think we're hopefully going to get more of those, which is good news.
It kind of feels like a monkey's paw curling though, because Silent Hill 2 is an established property and that sold well and performed really well, but anything original they've put out around Silent Hill has been real bad recently, whether it be a short message or. What was the live stream one with choices? That
was terrible. I watched all of it. Even the what if paths. I had to as a Silent Hill fan, but yeah, it sucked. But here's the thing, Ronnie. I feel like we need like a new entry into the Silent Hill franchise. So that's why I'm willing to give these two a chance. Just because we need something more. Like Silent Hill 4, The Room was very, very innovative. It was different from the previous ones. Then when they, when the other ones that came out, when they gave them to American studios, they kind of were not as good until Silent Hill 2 remake. So I want to give these two games a chance.
I think they need to give it an action heavy reboot. Call it Silent Hill Extreme Loud Mountain, and it's just.
I was going to say they need to go the exact opposite, and they need to call it Loud Valley.
Loud Valley. I guess that is the opposite of a.
What are y'all doing? Stop besmirching Silent Hill. What are you talking about?
Silent Hill Survive.
I feel which is
zombies through a fence.
Which is more exciting, Loud Valley where there's a big echo, or Loud Mountain where if you yell loud enough there's an avalanche?
Y'all think this is a joke, don't you?
A little bit.
Let us know, commenters, which you prefer,
seriously.
Loud Mountain or Loud Valley for the opposite of Silent Hill.
Akeem, I'll meet you halfway.
Silent Hill.
I'll meet you halfway and be hopeful and not optimistic. That's the best I can do.
Okay, so probably not going to see Silent Hill. We don't think. Who knows? Maybe not. Wolverine. I don't think we're gonna. I don't think he's gonna show up. No.
I think.
I mean, after the leaks, did the leaks happen? Was it last year or 2 years ago?
I can't keep track of that anymore. Time is.
Yeah, I'm just thinking after those leaks, I feel like they definitely want this to cook a little bit more. Not saying that they look bad. Not saying that I even looked at the leaks, but I'm just saying that I think it's going to be a while before we see anything Wolverine related. I don't think it's going to show up because I feel like that really hurt the devs. Again, if it was last year or 2 years ago, and I think they just want to kind of let this one cook a little bit more.
They just had a shakeup as well with Ted Price retiring.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I want Wolverine to show up, but sometimes he goes wanders off, goes on walkabout, does his own thing, doesn't want to hang out with the rest of the crowd. So I'll let him be.
That's not true. He's in the whole crowd of Marvel Rivals characters. He's over there just having a good time, just grabbing Groots and slaughtering them.
It's not my Wolverine. That's like Wolverine 2099 or something. Project Robot. We got this at the Game Awards. This is from the Team Eco founder. And it's got a robot that dies, and it looks like a sadder Evangelion kind of. And
a sadder?
Yeah.
Evangelion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They never. I mean,
You're gonna take that, Ronny? Ronny doesn't agree with that.
Is that a high bar or a low bar? I'm not sure when it goes to being sadder, which bar you're looking for.
I mean, sad is a weird word for everything that encompasses that series. Max, I believe you actually bought me those reboot movies. Thank you again for that. But the sadder than Evangelion is no, I can't. I don't want to spoil Evangelion for anyone. A lot of really bad things would have to happen to be sadder than Evangelion. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Maybe there's just less stuff. So proportionately speaking, it's sadder. Yeah. Like if it's just you and your robot, there's not really, the
amount of sad.
Not as much of a porcupine's dilemma if there's no one around to bother you. It's just the human condition is you and your robot. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a cool game with a robot you can flip into and drive around. This looks really sick. I also don't think we're going to see it for quite a while. I hope it's not a Last Guardian type situation where we don't see it for, an entire high school career or whatever, like the time it takes to go from being born to graduating college or whatever, however long it took Last Guardian to come out. But remains to be seen.
Ueda's got to leave the company and come back 3 times before this game comes out. So
yeah,
we got a little bit of a runway here.
Yeah. Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, the new Naughty Dog game. I don't know why I caveated it that way. I think everyone knows what this is. But yeah, this one we got at the Game Awards. I don't think we're going to see it because they just showed it to us and they want that to let that breathe and sink in.
Yeah. It's been 2 months. Not even 2 months yet. So, yeah, I agree. I think they'll show us a lot more when they're ready, but now is not the time.
When do you think they're going to show more?
I think probably around summer, around all the shows and stuff that start to pop up. I'm sure there'll be some behind closed doors, kind of closer looks at things maybe as early as GDC in March. But I think, or during the summer, maybe that's when they start doing closed doors kind of looks at this at Intergalactic. But I don't think we see actual trailer or gameplay trailer probably till summer, fall at best.
Yeah, and also we got to let the heat die down. Y'all remember how irate the internet got, when they first saw this trailer. So
yeah, I mean they irated everything. We've got plenty of things to talk about that they're irate about later in the episode today.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. Yeah. I don't know. I'm also let it, take your time. It's cool. I'll play it on PS6 if I have to. It's all good. Hate to say it. Bloodborne remake.
Just got to put it in there, Max, huh?
I think okay. We don't think we're going to see it because we can't have nice things, but there's something weird going on with Bloodborne right now. Where Sony has been DMCA striking. First, they went after the 60 frames a second mod, which that's been around since 2021. the person who did that, who got it, made a mod that makes it run at unlocked frame rate on PC if you emulate it through PS4, which you can do legally if you own a copy of Bloodborne, which you do because it's the best game ever and everyone owns a copy of Bloodborne. And then they had the PS1 demake also got, emails from Sony's lawyers. So like, why now?
Yeah, something's cooking. I think something's brewing. I don't think we're going to see anything, but I think they might be working on something behind the scenes. I mean, even with like Rockstar and Take-Two, they did there were some mods for GTA 4 that they kind of struck. So I don't know. There might be a remaster for GTA 4, and there might be a remaster for Bloodborne. So there's hope for you and Brian, Max.
I think I don't want to get excited about this, but I really
you can.
We need it. It's also, we're so close to the 10th anniversary of Bloodborne. That came out on like March 23rd or something. I should know this. I'm a fake Bloodborne fan. But yeah, like we're like less than 2 months from that. And if they're going to be, I don't know, maybe they do like a little teaser that has one of these, like, the creepy bath messengers, or just like a little bell ringing, or just some Bloodborne-y thing, or like the Street of Yarnum with like a, creepy fog, something like that. And it says, stay tuned for more. So, they can show the tiniest thing, the most infinitesimal little just whisker of a tease, and everybody would get so excited. And even if they haven't even started making this Bloodborne remake, if they were just like, let's just announce it, get people riled up. They don't release it for 13 years. I don't know. I just need something.
I hope that doesn't happen. Sony will be around in 13 years.
Sony comes out and they just put a 2 on the screen, and that's it. And and then they just fade to black from the 2. They don't say anything else. It's just 2.
We have no idea what the 2 is.
What the 2 is?
What's this 2 for?
Just a 2.
Just a
2
2.
What?
It's lots of things that could use a 2.
This is Bloodborne, and then they take the E gets replaced with a 3, and no one understands why they would do that. There's Bloodborne. They just keep adding more O's.
It's a frog fraction scenario where Bloodborne 2 is hiding somewhere else.
I believe it. It's kind of hiding in Elden Ring. It's sort of in there. Anyway, I hope we see any of these things, and also things that we didn't say. But we are going to have a pre and post show for the Sony State of Play whenever it happens. It's supposedly happening next week. We will let you know when we find out more. Knowing our track record, they'll probably announce it about 20 minutes after this episode goes live, because that's sort of how things go. Before we go, I just want to highlight the efforts IGN and our sister company Humble Bundle have been making to help support relief efforts for those affected by the LA fires through our partnerships and our charity bundles, which provide crucial aid, including meals, medical supplies, and various other essentials for those displaced residents. You can click the link in the description or head to promo.humblebundle.com/LA Fire Relief to pitch in. Every little bit helps. Thanks so much for your attention.